Hi there, welcome to First Taste, the show where our sparse wardrobes are laid bare for the world to see. My name's Mathew.
I'm Chris, and today we're listening to Slowdive's self-titled album. They haven't released anything in 18 years. So
18 years?
Good, man.
Really?
So I'm really excited because Slowdive are a seminal... I nearly said Slowgaze because of the name. Because their name. Seminal shoegaze band. Other than other heavyweights in the genre of like My Bloody Valentine and it's like Swerve Driver and Ride and a few, not the symbol by the way, Ride the band. They kind of really just carried forward the sound and the feel of shoegaze, especially in that kind of pretty much the whole decade actually throughout the 90s, but then even going so far back as the mid to late 80s. This is their fourth album, I believe.
Okay.
And the last one, it was a bit of a departure for them. A bit of a slow burn, which kind of isn't saying a lot within the genre. But before that, they released an album called Souvlaki, and that thing is just stunning. Maybe foreshadowing a lot of dream pop that was to come. And I know for a fact you love dream pop, so...
Yes, I am a dream pop fan. I've listened to a little bit of shoegaze. Loveless, yeah, I quite like that album. And I know that shoegaze was kind of this, really big in the 90s, but then just for some reason just dropped off. And it's only been recently with MBV coming back. Artists like Pink Shiny Ultra Blast. Who were this Russian shoegaze band, which are like trying to bring back shoegaze and that sort of stuff, and obviously with the new Slowdive. So is this going to be the heralding of the new era of slow gaze?
Slow gaze, it feels like it's dropped off for sure, but I think it's just been an example of aspects of that captured shoegaze sound that are now being used in other genres. It's just layered. It's such a dense sound.
Yes.
But, it's been an acquired taste, but I am very much a shoegaze fan at this point.
All right.
So I'm excited to dive into this one. It's very much picking up where we left off.
It's a lot more chill than I was expecting. Maybe because my extent of shoegaze is basically Loveless.
Yeah.
It's
beautiful.
Pretty.
I feel like
Showdive.
Showdive. I feel like Slowdive are a prettier version of My Bloody Valentine.
When listening to Loveless, I was like, I don't understand this connection with shoegaze and dream pop, but immediately here, I get it.
Yeah.
I can hear the dream pop in it.
This is so nice.
It is. It's really nice. I don't want to comment on it.
No.
I just want to bathe in it.
I've owned this for since it came out, but I haven't been able to listen to it, so it's finally happening. So we could just go the whole video without saying anything and I'd be happy.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
Honestly, I could have gone through that entire thing without any lyrics, but I'm so glad there was when they got there.
I think that's why I gravitate towards a lot of shoegaze bands.
Shoegaze?
I'm gonna get the genre right one of these times. Shoegaze bands in terms of the lack of emphasis on vocals and lyrics. Not vocals, but lyrics for sure. They're never really the centerpiece, and I kind of love that.
There's two vocalists, right?
Yeah.
There's a man and a woman?
At least two, yeah.
But they blend so well together. They kind of form this one voice that sounds almost androgynous.
Yeah.
You can't quite tell if it's a male or vocal,
That's true.
but it's only because they sing separately sometimes that you can tell it's two.
Pretty infatuated with this from the get-go, to be honest. For me personally, I don't understand how you can dislike something like that.
Yeah.
It's just too beautiful. Okay, well, this is Britpop. It's got a really solid backbone, this song.
Yeah, it's surprising for shoegaze.
Yeah.
I just love those guitars that just feel like they're floating in space past.
They kind of glide, don't they? Yeah.
And, yeah, it's beautiful.
Super immediate, actually, the more I think about it.
As far as slow gaze,
slow gaze.
As far as shoegaze go, it's very immediate.
This isn't slow at all. This is quick, man.
Yeah, quick gaze.
Yeah, quick gaze. Maybe it's because the word star is in the title, but that kind of had a bit of a space rock.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Overarching, almost spiritualized or that kind of thing.
I'd call it stargaze.
Stargaze. We have to quit it, eh? This is probably the quickest song
This is fast gaze.
Yeah. It's kind of a farce that we're even sitting on a couch for this video because I like to lie on the floor.
Yeah. We could just angle the camera down.
Can we ceiling mount it? Is that okay? Can we do
that?
that?
I wish we could. We have a low budget here at First Taste. Do you know how cheap this wine is?
few different levels of dynamics so far as well.
Definitely.
I've appreciated that.
Even in
It's
just
cool.
this song alone. Like, you think at the beginning of this song, and then you compare it to now, it just doesn't even feel like the same song.
Slightest danger of it becoming a bit too close to U2 there, but then that beat just kind of rescued it. It's like, no, we're still Slowdive. With each passing minute, impartiality is becoming a more difficult task for me. It appeals to so many of my inclinations and tastes and everything. It's just so good. Like, you could live in this music. That's always how I feel.
Live in this music.
Like, for real. Like, it sounds douchey, but do you know what I mean? I just never seem to get sick of it.
See, it might be a little bit of the opposite for me. A lot of shoegaze starts to sound very similar. I really enjoyed that song. I really enjoyed the first song, and to an extent, I really enjoyed the second song as well. But they all do sound very familiar to me, almost in a bad way. But it's enjoyable in the time, and I think that's all that really matters. I do like his voice. I think he's got a very good voice for this. It's very, like, refined.
That's actually super naked as well, if you think about it, in terms of there's not a whole lot on that. It's quite dry.
Oh, that's really nice. Layered on top of each other? Is that, like, harmonized of some sort?
Yeah, it must be. Maybe, I don't know. See, I'm a drummer, so it's the kind of thing
harmonies mean nothing to me.
I don't want to say shoegaze has a learning curve. It can be reduced to a genre of just guitarists having a circle jerk, basically. I feel like if I can put on a shoegaze album and enjoy it and not feel excluded, then it's kind of...
It's doing its job.
Exactly. It merits the entire... what it's going for, basically.
This melody has a really familiar vibe to me. Oh man, I can't quite put my finger on it. Just everything about this so far has been familiar. And I guess that's a good thing. I think. If it was so familiar that I'm like, oh, this just sounds like, you know, this song, it would be a bad thing. But because I can't put my finger on it, I think that's good. Ooh. Immense.
Somehow a word that hasn't come up in either of our vernacular so far, but super ethereal.
This entire time I've been listening to this album, and I don't feel like it's a brand new album. I just feel like it's straight from the 90s.
Yeah, does it give you a kind of instant nostalgia? Is that sort of tapping into that? Or?
Yeah, it does give me nostalgia, like, with that familiarity. I don't think it's a 2017 album. If you told me this was Souvlaki, I'd just be like, alright.
Sure.
And I would totally believe it.
I'll have to rectify that, don't worry. You don't have to attack him. I'll attack him off camera, don't worry. It's all good.
We all have our gaps. I just have a lot of them.
Yeah.
It just feels like a 90s shoegaze album. And that's fine.
Yeah.
Especially because they were a 90s shoegaze band.
You can't do any wrong by me if you harken back to 90s post-rock and shoegaze. I'm never going to be angry at a band for doing that, so...
Again, this one feels much more immediate.
I mean, there's less than 5 channels there.
That was nice.
What? Like, am I supposed to not like that? Offsets life in a very lovely kind of way. This is the grooviest song, I think, on this album.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, it's definitely the most prominent the bass has been since, I think, like the first song or the second song.
It's kind of nice in a jammy kind of way.
I'm imagining myself in, like, a Slowdive show, and if I heard this song live, I'd be like, just get to the big stuff. Like...
Big always, please.
Yeah, I don't want this intermission.
But this fade. It's... Oh, that's so good! Bloody hell. Well, that's the thing, we're never able to absolutely crank the volume up when we film these episodes, so if it's having this much of an effect on me right now, I listen to my music at an unsafe volume most of the time, but I can't wait to just get tinnitus off this, basically. There's that kind of double snare hit, makes it really cool. It's always weird commenting on shoegaze drums. Almost never are they the focal point.
One of the worst gigs in the world is being a shoegaze drummer.
Well, I don't know, because I think it's not very taxing to play shoegaze, which is nice. I imagine that kind of thing is nice. I do not play in a shoegaze band. I'd love to play this stuff. It'd be just so nice.
If you want the complete opposite of this, go check out Chris's band
Roving.
We
sound nothing like this.
You want some punky DIY stuff that's really good.
Trashy shit. Then feel free. Yeah. No worries.
Leavings.
Shameless plug.
band.bandcamp.com.
Yep. Thank you, Middo. Merch on sale.
Selling Shark 7-inch, now available.
Shut up.
I love the clashy guitars.
If we had a tally for the amount of times I've gotten goosebumps on a first listen, it's getting up there.
Yeah.
Whoa. That layer was so cool.
It sounded like kookaburras.
Yeah, or like a cat being thrown across your
stage.
vision, yeah. They still have one of the most apt names in all of music.
Yeah.
It constantly feels like you've taken a dive under a wave.
Yeah.
Which
and just
might
crashing over
be
you.
something not everyone's experienced, but we live near beaches, so...
Mm-hmm. Best beaches in the world.
Woo. Come for the beach and only the beach.
And yeah, then don't stay.
This song has been almost prog.
Yes.
Pink
You're right.
Floyd or something.
Yeah, totally.
They're still doing their own thing, which is important, but...
Excuse my complete obliviousness to like the history of music and evolving genres and that sort of stuff, but was shoegaze kind of an evolution of prog rock?
I'd say absolutely,
Yeah.
I don't want to overstep my bounds, but prog rock was... You can't do this to me, Slowdive. I'm trying to make a point and then you fade it in like that. Prog rock was kind of one of the first experimental genres, or genres where experimenting occurred for the sake of experimenting, that kind of crossed over in the way it did. And it's also a direct result of just the sheer amount of gear that became available.
Yeah.
Time in studios too.
So in a way, shoegaze is music for really rich people.
Yeah, to make.
Yeah, to make
initially,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
You got like high investment.
But to consume it, no, absolutely not.
Oh, piano. Oh, that's the perfect way to end it. This is automatically my favorite part of the album. Like, it's one of those moments that made my heart skip a beat. You feeling it?
Yeah.
Slowest build in the world.
Yep. I'm just waiting for the euphoria. Some really slight playing, really tiny strums of guitar laid in there as well.
Yeah, definitely. You know what this kind of reminds me of? And nobody is gonna, like, know this. The album that came out last year by a band called Sound of Ceres. Nostalgia for Infinity was the name of the album. And this is like, if you want to know what Nostalgia for Infinity by Sound of Ceres sounds like, it's this song.
As a snapshot.
Yeah.
Yeah. That guitar is so minuscule.
Yeah.
Couldn't be smaller. Microscopic. Ooh. I want to say there's some field recording of some sort laid in there as well.
Yeah, I think I kind of hear what you're...
It sounded like a breeze, pretty much.
But it might just be feedback.
Maybe, yeah.
I like that it's ambiguous. I love that exact same piano is still going. The piano has not changed, and it hasn't stopped.
I'm just captivated by how immediately drawn I am to the lyrics and the vocals.
Yeah.
More so the lyrics. For probably the first time on this album, the lyrics over the vocals.
I think it's the first time you can really hear the lyrics. You know what's really great is that I just heard bike, like a bike bell.
Yeah.
And I have no clue if it was in the music or if it was outside. That guitar
It's
is...
almost like a polyrhythm or something.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Wow.
There's a lot happening there.
Surprisingly for how, like, minimal the whole thing is. How drawn back it is. There's a lot going on.
Oh. It's really intriguing.
What is that?
Just really cool delay.
So many times I couldn't tell what was the music and what was outside, what was just the world. It all just blended into one, and that's stunning. That's it really feels like a soundtrack to living, as you were saying earlier, like you could live to this. So, can I start so I can just get my thoughts out of the way and then you can rant for a bit?
Yeah. How do you know I'm going to rant?
Rant in a good way.
Yeah,
Gosh, that's what I mean. Very middle of the road for me. Shoegaze, in general, I think is one of those genres where, in the moment, it's really enjoyable. but it's never something that really draws me in and I could really go for some shoegaze at the moment. And I think that's partly because I have a hard time distinguishing a lot of what's going on. A lot of it seems to have a very base core that's similar. I think the word would be competent. Like, for me, there's nothing wrong with this album, but it doesn't spark much in me. Very occasionally it does. That last track was, like, it did something really special to me, but that was the most unshoegazy song on the album. Yeah, for me, I thought it was enjoyable. I don't know if it's something that I particularly will come back to that much at all, though. Because it's so familiar, there's nothing terribly unique to me that's, like, hooking me in.
I really liked it, for sure.
Yeah.
Right off the bat, we'll listen to it again a great deal. I'm a little bit wary of how able I was to pick apart all the different elements. Usually a task I look forward to with a lot of shoegaze and even more ambient leaning music is I like that the layered aspect is that's enough for me to return pretty much, just to dive deeper. Yeah, I'm just trying not to use the word dive, but you have to. Yeah, it's not that I expect a first listen of a shoegaze album to have no appeal, because that's obviously not the goal either. I think at this point in time it just strikes me more as a familiar wave from a familiar face.
It sounds like that for you, that familiarity is like exactly what you want.
Yeah.
Like it's a nice thing.
Yeah, and I'm kind of compelled to say maybe it's a little bit safe. I'm not convinced that matters though. There's a real tangible sense of interplay between not only the vocals, but just everything was so well intertwined again. It's a hard genre to be too overly analytical about. At this point, I don't know if I have to say much more than I just really want to go back in again. It's the kind of thing where there are times where you'll put an album like this on where it just hits the spot. Other times I find myself having to turn it off because I'm not in the right headspace for it.
Yeah.
It would be a pretty weird existence, I think, if you only listen to music this introspective.
Yeah.
Because it is very introspective by nature. But,
Definitely.
I mean, I love that. That's great.
Thank you so much for watching. Let us know what you thought of the album down in the comments and we'll discuss it with you down there. But that is all for today. See you later.